And welcome to the July MYgration Films Watch Party. I'm Lori Turchin, the film curator.
I'm Terry Olson, Fusion Fest chief instigator.
And tonight, our first movie up is, Multicultural American, the story of Melanie Lajoie, and her filmmaker was Emily Jimenez. Welcome, Emily.
Hi, thank you, Lori. Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good. So Emily was a student when she made the film for us, and now she is a graduate and in the profession. How's it going for you?
It's pretty good. Some rough patches, but I mean, holding off pretty good.
Have you been able to use the film as a piece to show people, or have you not kind of gotten to that level yet?
I've shown like a couple people, but it's more like a good reference to see how much I've changed in like skills that I've acquired. So it's a pretty good thing to look back at.
Yeah, because it's been what, like
2 years?
2 years? Okay.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
we?
yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say three almost.
I was good. I'm not sure. It seems longer than that. Was it 48 hours or 5 days? And was it pre-COVID or COVID?
It was after COVID, a little bit after COVID.
Okay, so we did a virtual meetup.
And
Yeah.
for those people watching, I want to explain that our MYgration film program is one where we pair a filmmaker with somebody at random, and they have 5 days to make a film of 3 to 5 minutes. We're going to see a couple of those films tonight, and we're talking to the filmmaker now, but also think about you could be the subject of one of the films.
Or you could be one of my filmmakers. So we have the website scrolling below, and you can go there and fill out an application to do either. So Emily, tell me about your experience. As you know, you were pretty new when you did this. How was it? I mean, Melanie, your subject is certainly, an interesting, story. So talk to me about it.
So I was pretty scared going into it because I wasn't really interested in directing per se. But like she made me feel like so comfortable and it felt so natural that I don't know, like it felt like I was talking to her when I was doing the interview and planning out the questions that I was gonna ask her. Um, so like she made it fun, and I felt like comfortable with her and during the whole process. Um, and I feel like it was a challenging thing because it was like one day, the first day we met, and then we did all the questions and all that, and then the next day was like shooting and like figuring out like what we were gonna do and like getting b-roll and all that stuff. So it was definitely a good experience that I would like to like repeat for sure.
And
So
as soon as this is over, she's going to fill out an application for this year, right, Emily?
yeah, yeah, I promise.
No pressure, no pressure. Well, without further ado, let's take a look at multicultural Native American, and then we'll ask more questions. Did you have something to say, Terry?
Yeah, just for that, our viewers, just to keep in mind, at any time you can type in a question and we'll try to answer that. So as you're watching this, if you get some questions, let us know.
Okay, Leah.
My mother's Lithuanian and Russian. My father is French and Native American. They're both first generation Americans. So I'm a second generation American of multicultural, multinational heritage. My name is Melanie LaJoie, aka Melanie Lajoie. I was born outside of Boston, Massachusetts, a long time ago. I started dancing there when I was just a small little toddler. My dad was my first dance instructor, so that was a fun father-daughter thing to do. He was in the Navy for 20 years before, during, and after World War II. These are my grandmothers. My father's mother and my mother's mother, they were not born in the United States, so they came from different countries. She came from Canada, Quebec, and she came from Lithuania with a Russian background. So she's the Russian gypsy, and she would dress up like a gypsy, and this would drive my mother crazy. My mother's like, don't do that, because, you know, my mother was converted to Catholicism, so that was like bad, you know. But my grandmother and I would laugh and giggle, and we would just do all these fun gypsy things. So she taught me a lot about the tarot and other types of divination, if you will. But I came to Orlando because my parents moved. My dad got really ill, so the doctor told him to move to a better climate. So after a year of them being gone, I'm like, where's my family? Where's my parents? And so I decided to move to Orlando. I came to Florida 33 years ago. I had already been dancing in the Boston area and all over the world by this time. I was dancing in Boston, I think, for about 17 years before I moved out. But I was dancing all over the Boston area, New York City. I was going to Morocco to dance. I was dancing in Egypt a couple of times, in Greece, Europe. I did a tour of Europe. The first thing I did, other than starting my dance company and teaching dancing, was to work at Universal Studios. That was my goal, to work at Universal Studios. So I started there as Andy Panda and Fievel, and that was in 1990 when they first opened. So actually, I started before they opened. Then they promoted me to management of special events entertainment, which is now entertainment production. In 93, I left Universal to become a full-time mom, but I also started my own business, Magi Entertainment Dance Productions. And Universal then comes to me and says, hey, we need belly dancers, snake charmers, fire eaters, you know, all sorts of specialty act. Belly dance is not the only thing I do, and it's not the only style of dance that I do. I didn't start out as a belly dancer. I've been exposed, and because I went to the Lithuanian school, I had to do the Lithuanian folk dances. So that was like the beginning. I started the folk dance with the Lithuanian, even though I didn't look right in the Lithuanian costume. There's that little gypsy, French gypsy, Esmeralda, whatever. When I started belly dance, I had already started taking other styles of world dance. I went on a journey, a dance journey, if you will, not only looking for my DNA of dance, which included the gypsy style, the Russian gypsy style, and later the Turkish gypsy style, but I also was looking for different styles of dance that I could just resonate with, that I felt was part of me. Belly dance kind of took me, and it said, okay, you're going to go on this journey. When I started college, I was actually majoring in ancient world history and Middle Eastern anthropology. Did many projects as I was traveling around the world, talking to my professors, can I do a special project, you know, on Egyptian dance since I'm going to Egypt? And they said, sure. So we put it under dance ethnology, you know, and I learned all the different styles of folkloric dance in the Middle East and Greece and other parts of the world. So I was looking for, I think, how dance change from one culture to another, yet what did it all keep? And as I said, I'm from the Boston area. Well, you go from one neighborhood to another neighborhood, one square to another square, and you're going from one culture to another culture. I was just so enthralled with all of that, and I'm so lucky to have been born in the Boston area as an American of multinational heritage and a second generation American, and then eager to learn more about the world. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here another 33 years, hopefully.
Well,
Go ahead, Terry.
I was just gonna say, Melly says she's a second generation American. I'm just wondering if anyone in the audience what generation American are you? Type it in.
What about you, Emily? I know you're of Dominican Republic background. What, are you first generation American?
Um, I wouldn't know how to answer that question though, because like,
Did your mother was your mother and father born in America?
oh no, that we were all born back in DR.
Oh, so you're first generation. You're not even first generation
Yeah.
American. That's fantastic. That's So let me ask you. You and Melanie obviously come from very different backgrounds.
Mhm.
What was that like? How did you guys fuse?
Oh, it was awesome. Like she taught me, she she like got to teach me like all the stuff that she learned throughout the years about like her culture and like how she navigated that. So it was awesome. I don't know, like I felt like at home. And then I don't know, like every time I rewatch the video, which is not often, like I get happy because I don't know, she
Well,
was such a
when you
joyful person.
when you meet Melanie, she seems like she could be like a little bit of a kooky, but she's so not kooky. I mean, like, look at all she's done and
Mhm.
traveled and studying anthropology, just tracing cultural connections through dance.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: as a graduate of 3 years, what would you do different?
Oh, oh no. I would definitely, I would have liked to grab more pictures from her and her like childhood and all that stuff, just to showcase it. Um, and I don't know if I would cut anything because everything she said like kind of makes sense with the story, and but I would definitely like fix the flow of it a little bit. Like I feel like
Right,
it could go a little bit more faster than
right.
the other one.
And
You
it's
said
so
you
funny because I bet when you first did it, you were like, 5 minutes, that's not enough. And now you're like, it needed to be, but now like
Yeah.
you see. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Terry.
no, just gonna say you said you felt at home there, and how can you not feel at home in a place that has all those little lights all over the place? It makes the place magical, right?
Yeah. And her
I,
personality too and energy.
I
So
noticed she said she first danced with her father. Have
yeah.
you ever danced with your father?
Oh yeah. Many times when I was younger.
I don't know about you, Emily, but when I was little, I used to put my feet on top of my dad's feet, and we would dance when we would go to the Catskills to the hotels there, and people would be like, "Is he dancing by himself?"
Yeah.
Did
Well,
you? What was your perception or experience with gypsies before meeting Melanie?
I had very little knowledge. It was mostly like what I've seen on TVs and movies. So when she like kind of she literally she opened my eyes and like made me curious because I started like looking up stuff just to like be more knowledgeable about it. So yeah, like I had little very knowledge of
Yeah,
like how what it means and like how much it is. Like I don't know how to put it into
sure,
words
sure.
really.
do you think
How
it's made you more curious about other people's cultures and just more exploratory?
For sure, for sure. I mean, it's just like I don't know, like I would have never thought how much how much her personality or like how her personality was unless I would have asked her like, specific questions, you know?
Right.
I would have been like, oh, just a normal person, but like she actually has like a lot of backstory and
Oh yeah.
a lot of I've been here and there, and she told me stories after we ended the recording. Like we stayed there for like an hour after we finished, and she was telling us all these stories about like her travels and when she was in college. So it definitely made me like open up more to approach people in like work when I'm like freelancing or at my work every day, like ask questions about themselves and what makes them them.
That, that's funny you say that, because I always like people that like English is their second language. I'll be like, do you think in your native tongue or do you think in English? Like what's that process? Like, are you always translating in your head? That would like frustrate the heck out of me, So I have millions of questions. I'm very, curious about people. And I think traveling and, just so people understand, when we call them migration films, Melanie came from Boston, but we all have heritage, whether for me, my grandfather, I'm actually, I guess, second generation Russian. My grandfather came here from Russia. Now, we never shared the Russian culture, but certainly my Jewish culture was present. But I just want people who are watching who may want to sign up to be a subject, that you are what you say you are, what you identify as. We've had someone who grew up in Tampa and moved to Orlando and discovered his French roots and became a Francophile. So it's fascinating, the journey people go on. And I love the fact that like you and Melanie, like two different worlds, two many generations apart, and yet you came together as a unit and made this beautiful piece of cinema. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you guys for the opportunity and the platform.
I claim Alaska as my heritage because that's where I grew up, but I'm actually a 15th generation American. So I've had ancestors immigrating here from lots of places: England, Scotland, Ireland, Germany, Switzerland, European. But
for an American, I'm a bit of a purebred. I'm like 98% from Belarus. It was like very boring. I did Groupon, I did one of these tests and I swabbed my mouth and I was like, I yawned when I think I was like 1% Italian and 1% Turkish, and then the rest was Belarus, like specifically Belarus, like not even like Eastern European,
Just you have 1% Italian there. I mean,
well, actually, I've been told that Turchin, someone once told me, means we did business with the Turks. So that I could be a little bit of Turkish is not like beyond the realm of possibility. So, and fifth generation, that's crazy.
Thanks, Scott. Anyone else? What is your heritage? We're eager to hear that. Also, Melanie mentioned that when she first came, she worked at Universal. I think a lot of us came here for a theme park.
I did.
Yeah.
I came here. Matter of fact, I landed June 6th, the opening day of Universal 1990. I was here for that, and I have to say, to go with what Terry said, that so many of the people that we make these movies about came here for Disney and or Universal and have, just look at Epcot, it's so multinational, and, that's why they call it casting, so that they can specifically cast people of that heritage without being considered discriminatory. So,
well, so she also mentioned Boston, like one square is one ethnicity and another square is another one, kind of like Epcot Center, where they're separated. We are much more mixed here in Central Florida, and so at Fusion Fest we aspire to honor heritages, but even more so honor that we're all Central Floridians together. So we're mixing it up. We're learning about each other and finding out how to be more creative with those different cultural influences.
How have you felt? Have you felt acceptance? Like, what age did you come to this country?
I came here like to live here. I've been living here for 3 years. So
Oh,
not that long.
really?
Yeah, I came just for
wow.
for
You just
school.
came to school and stayed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got
So
the fortune.
where's your family?
They're all back in DR, like most of them.
Okay. All right.
But we're all over all over the U.S.
Okay.
So I have family in New York, and then I have family. Where else? I don't like. I know we're all over,
Okay.
but it's been nice. First year was a little weird, but because I didn't know what was going on, but then it's basically, I don't know, it feels like home. Like I've met so many Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, like it's a melting pot here, so it's pretty nice.
What part of the island in DR is your family from?
We're from the capital, so Santo Domingo. So yeah, we're a bunch of people. But yeah, before I moved, we used to travel here for the theme parks and for family that that we have here. So it kind of felt like home before, but now it feels like actual home. It's been 3 years, so
Yeah, well, from someone who's been 33 years, yes, it does feel like home. It's great. There's something about Orlando, and I'm not the only one. My boss has a similar story. A few of my other colleagues have, where we came here for what was supposed to be a short amount of time, and here we are, like a lifetime later. Having built family and relationships here, and work and whatnot. So, but yeah, the theme parks are a huge reason we have such a multicultural community here. So
Melanie also said that she's been here 33 years, so
yeah,
she must have come for the opening of Universal as well.
right. Well, it was 3 years ago, Emily, because I noticed, because the last 2 years we've had more graphic stuff, moving stuff happen before the movie. So
yeah.
that was 3 years ago. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, okay.
Yeah, I know, right? It happened really fast.
Why am I?
That's how life goes. Well, thank you so much, Emily, and I hope you will apply for this year again. And the next movie, unfortunately, neither our filmmaker or our subject at the last minute could not be here. There was a family illness she had to attend, but it's still a fantastic story, and I have a little bit of backstory on the story after we watch it. So, Leo, if we could
And
roll.
I think that we may have a surprise Hawaiian joining us.
Oh, okay. Ooh, I like surprises. With no further ado, let's watch Annalee. Hannalee?
I work for Hanalei Shave Ice, and it was something that was born out of love for my dad. It was kind of adventure for me to kind of learn my background and my upbringing. Something that just kind of captured my attention in a trip to Hawaii. I went there, and I went to the island of Kauai, where I'm originally from, my family's originally from, and I fell in love with the culture and everything. And I kind of was taken away from that because my parents had divorced when I was young, so I didn't really learn a lot about my Hawaiian side until later in life. So it's Hanalei Shave Ice. It's authentic Hawaiian shave ice, and Hawaiians call it shave, S-H-A-V-E, not shaved with the D. What it is, it's just a hand-cranked ice confection that I use a lot of all-natural toppings and create these little pretty, I call them ice sculptures because they're kind of beautiful. You take all the beautiful colors of fruits and you turn it into something that's an edible treat. You eat with your eyes before you eat with your spoon, so that works out. And I've been doing it for a little while now, and I really love it. It's fun, it's rewarding, and it also connects me to my roots and my family and my heritage, and it also helps me to be able to explain to other people, a little bit about Hawaii and some of the sweeter things that are from the island, and bring in interesting treats from the islands. when I first started it, it was just mainly to connect with my culture, my background, and then also to get my dad to his island. Don Nolan Kawhi Wells. Sorry. He is going by Gunny because he was a gunny sergeant in the Marines, and he was most proud of that. Of anything he did, he was proud of being a U.S. Marine. And if you know Marines, they're all proud of being a Marine. So my dad that was his favorite thing, was just serving and being of service to people. So he was a true Hawaiian. He loved his island more than anything. So he's very missed right now. Having a conversation that's saying, "Hey Dad, I'm doing this," and he's connected to it and I'm connected to it. It was one of those moments where it filled me up. You know, you need those moments with your parents, I think. So it was very cool. But he was mainly like, "That's so cool." So then the machine, I told my dad about it, and he was like, "That sounds just like the one I used to have." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's cool, Dad." And then I actually started researching, and these are very rare. There's only like really 8 left in circulation of this particular kind because there was a recall. So then I researched even further. And then I researched the grocery store, and the grocery store is the same grocery store my father used to work for. So I was like, it was kind of my Moana moment where I was like, wow, this is probably the machine. And then I showed it to my dad, and he was like, that's it. And it was kind of a exciting and emotional time because we were like, no way this could possibly be, but it is. It's the same machine. So it came to me, and I feel like that's really special. You buy something and you don't really know what kind of work needs to go into it, but we figured it out. We painted it and put a stainless steel countertop in there, a 3-compartment sink, and a freezer, and put up some of my favorite things. Like it's kind of like my little she shed. So I got Audrey Hepburn pictures in there, and a picture of my Frenchie. To connect back with my ancestors in such a huge way. It's a gift.
Well, I just love this story. I just love that the machine she's using is the same machine that her father used when he was working in Hawaii making shave ice. And what's interesting is we had a application this year from a filmmaker, and when I went to look at their portfolio film, it was a film, and Brandy from Honolulu Shave Ice, she was part of the story. So it was again her, and I was like, oh my God, it's such a small world. So what did you think of it, Terry?
Well, I've been to Hawaii several times. I'm curious to know if our viewers have been to Hawaii. It is part of the United States, but it definitely has its own culture. And shaved ice is definitely part of that. The other thing also interesting, Spam is very popular in Hawaii. Again, that's related to the military.
Right.
So much military there and Spam. But I mean, McDonald's has a Spam sandwich. So that was interesting.
What'd you think? What'd you think of it, Emily?
I've seen her. It was funny. I've seen her on my classmates' videos. So maybe the filmmaker that applied for you, it's my classmate.
Oh, I forget. Her last name is Sue.
Betty Sue?
Yeah.
So like I've seen her before, and I really liked like the whole concept of the shaved ice and like her whole heritage being attached to it. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
I
And
thought it was,
Terry, go ahead.
I thought it was interesting that her father, so proud of being a Marine. And I'm trying to think, what was my father most proud of? What was your father most proud of?
Probably being a pilot for my dad. He was a private pilot. He was a bird in another life. He took great pride in his plane. He was a mechanic, worked on it himself, and that was his happy place. So, what about you, Emily?
Um, I would say like being a multifaceted man. Like he really can do everything. So yeah, he would do, but mostly. Oh, actually, yeah, playing baseball.
Okay.
He's being an athlete, so I would say that he's very proud of his.
Baseball is a big part of Dominican Republic life, right? A lot of
Yeah,
players come to the major leagues from Dominican Republic.
yeah. I mean, we got David Ortiz, and so. Oh wait, baseball? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, but my
We
dad's
can
thing is
see you're
basketball.
such a big sports person, Emily.
No, I'm definitely. I have like I don't know. I have just the basics of this.
I think my dad was probably most proud of his work. He was a school administrator, so he would be proud of his school and the things that he brought to make the school a better place. It's probably what my dad would say.
Now, Terry, do we have a special guest?
Well, I guess not.
Okay.
I was hoping, because she said something in there that it was my blank moment, and I didn't know that word, and I figured that a Hawaiian would know what that word was.
Did you ask T?
That's who I asked to show up, and she said yes.
She's on island time. But again, a story about someone that was born and raised here and, has this strange magnetic draw toward her culture and the importance of it in her life. T's daughter Zion, very much identifies with her Polynesian background, and her father Adam is from Puerto Rico, but that was never the culture that was sort of emphasized. And she's at a point in her life now where she's wanting to explore, more of this other side of her that she really has, not a lot of knowledge of, because her father kind of embraced the Hawaiian culture, So, and they do make it fun. I have to say that about that family. So,
I think T's going to be joining us in a minute here.
Okay.
Do you have anything that your father used, an object that, like, my father had this or something like this?
For my dad, it was compound. Anything that happened to your car can compound it out. Can compound it out. He didn't use duct tape. Can compound it out.
So you mean like a putty kind of thing?
Yeah. Just compound it out. Everything. That was his solution. How about you, Emily? Was your dad a fixer kind of guy?
Not really. He would like stretch out. I don't know how he made things have a larger lifespan than they regularly do. So I think that's his thing, like making stuff that could be broken.
Unlike today where, if it's broken, we just throw it out and buy something new. And back then, my dad was a fix it kind of guy. Like there was nothing he couldn't figure out how to fix. And I think that that mentality is being lost, unfortunately, unless you get to those people that say, oh, you can just go on YouTube and figure it out, and I'm like, yeah.
My dad was a handyman as well. So what I have of his, like I had in my hand just yesterday, was a hammer. Because when he came here,
hammer.
he would build things, a deck for us. Or when my parents were in their 80s, they built a tree house for my daughter, like 20 feet off the ground.
Oh, wow.
So in my garage, I have tools and lots of little jars of screws and things that I have no idea what they're for. About what we once I'll dig in and pull something out and find a use for it.
I have a space in my house like that. It was my dad's space. It's where he kept all the tools, and I have his lineman pliers. Lineman pliers have rubber around the handles so that you don't get electrocuted. And the one, I actually have two pairs of his, but the one pair has a little hole like where the clips, because like it got electrocuted.
Oh my God.
My dad never wore a wedding ring because he was an electrician. T, hey.
Aloha.
Hello.
Hey.
So now ask her, Terry.
Well, we watched the film, and the gal was saying, my blank moment. There was a word she used.
Mona Luana? Mona Luana?
Moana moment.
What does that mean?
So it's from it's a reference to Disney's Moana movie, where she's realizing her path or her importance.
So she's was a shaved ice person, and she talked about her father's shaved ice thing. I don't imagine that's from a native. I imagine that's from a Western influence in Hawaii, though. Not
from Japanese would be
shave ice.
Japanese, yes, would be the shave ice.
Oh, interesting.
Right, and she did emphasize it's shave, not shaved. Shave ice.
So what, like, is there any place when you go to Hawaii that like you go that place for shaved ice, like it's the best?
Oh yeah, most definitely. There's different places all around. So from our particular island, Oahu, where I was born, is you can go to Matsumoto's in Haleiwa. That's on the North Shore side, so country all the way. And they have lines that wrap around the building. But there's also one that's really good right in our hometown as well. So yeah, you'll find them everywhere in Hawaii.
Well, it's nice and warm, and what's better than shaved ice with fruit flavors?
Yeah, so Hanalei in particular is here in Orlando, and she stays pretty busy even during the winter.
Well, never gets that cold here for that long.
Even if it is, it's good.
Yeah.
She does
Say that again.
About that the crank thing was very much like, or was, her father's.
Yeah.
And, that was a connection thing for her. And we were talking about, what do you have that's of your father's that is your connection to him and his past?
I have his mother's name.
Oh, well, there you have it.
Cool.
And I have his granddaughter.
And the other question we posed was, she talked about her father was very proud that he was a Marine, and we were exploring, what would we say that our father is proud of in his life. For me, I think my dad was most proud of his work, which was, he was a school administrator, so his school and the improvements he brought to his school. And Lori's dad's proud that he was a pilot, not a pirate, but a pilot. What would you say your father is most proud of?
I say my father is most proud of his grandchildren.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
It skipped us. It skipped us and went straight to the grandchildren.
But if I can, also the music that he creates.
Yeah.
He creates very special moments with music and his creativity. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
So-
Zion is definitely very influenced by him.
Thank you.
So that film that Hanalei did was a really good film. We were there getting shave ice the day that they were filming. We didn't
Oh,
know.
that's funny.
We walked up. I brought my halal, my Hawaiian School of Learning, the kids to come and have some shave ice. So it was funny when we walked up and they had cameras and we're all trying to get out of the shot. You know, we didn't want to be a part of it, but it was awesome to witness and to hear her story.
Do you have a favorite flavor?
Oh, wow. There's so many good flavors. I would say that she makes. My favorite would be, I like the Pog. It's the passion fruit, orange, and guava. Yeah, that is good. I think I like the lilikoi, the passion fruit, or the taro. Or she makes ube.
Ube, yeah.
Ube is really good.
Yeah, I've had ube at Sanguita, is it?
Sampaquitas.
Yeah.
I have
What
a
you
question
said.
about the lilikoi, the passion fruit, which in Hawaii is a tree, right?
Yes.
So I have passion fruit vines like on my fence.
Ah.
Is that just a different kind of species, or?
It could be. Yeah, passion fruit. Actually, in some areas, it is more viney. You're right. You're right about that. So I don't know. It just depends. Does it ever bear fruit?
Yeah, it tastes like passion fruit. But
Then yeah, that's it. Yeah.
When we were in Hawaii,
What's your address again, Terry? I forgot.
What's what?
What's your address again?
Oh,
That's one of my favorite fruits.
come on over. Yes, we can't eat it all. But my mother made a lilikoi chiffon pie. It's the best pie I've ever had in my life. I'd love to do it again, but I suppose she strained the seeds out through a cloth or something. I don't know how she did it.
I think that's better. There we go.
There you go.
Wow, that sounds delicious. That's one of my favorites. So yeah, I will
Now
be
you're
popping
making me
by to see
hungry.
what's on your fence.
Right?
Perhaps you should give her the address later.
Yes.
That's too funny.
Yes, I don't want the thousands of people watching right now to be descending on my house. But thank you for joining us to Uruhei. Since our subject, she had an emergency medical thing with her family, so she wasn't able to join us today.
So thank you, T.
You're welcome.
And thank you,
Again,
Emily.
again, it was a great
See you.
film. Another beautiful story that you guys all helped to bring to the screen and help people to connect with.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Emily. Thank you, T. And thank you, Terry.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you, those of you who are watching this. We appreciate that. Each month, we do another virtual watch party.
Next month, I believe we're celebrating, I think, Croatia. I think I made August Croatia month.
All right.
Very cool.
And then we'll have some new films in September that will be premiering. You can see live in a cinema.
Yeah.
All right.
And applications are open till August 1st.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Aloha.
Aloha.